Bam! What's up, folks? MC is in the house. All right. What's going on, guys? My name is Justin Garcia, also known as Master Chim, and welcome to the Wednesday Warrior stream. I am here every Wednesday at noon Eastern Standard Time, deep diving on some topic or other, and usually have a pretty good time while doing it. Today, we got a pretty good talk planned, and it's on focus. A couple of different things I wanted to go over. Also, some models of and frameworks that you guys could apply to what it is that you're doing. Okay, right now, let me check in with comments here. What's up, Guru? Gurud. I don't know. I'm trying to make it sound ethnic. What's up to you, my friend? Jesse, what's going on? Rockstar in the house. What's up, brother man? And Corey is here as well. Good to see you. Right now, we're streaming on YouTube, a couple of Facebook pages, and X, the artist formerly known as Twitter. Aaron, what's up in Canada? My man Caceres is in the house. Good to see you, brother. As usual, yeah, we got a good group today. Good. So before I get into this, if you guys look in the description, doesn't matter where you're watching, it'll be there. I have a program that you can download. There is a link in the description. For those of you men that are interested in improving your bottom line, a bunch of guys that I deal with in my coaching programs are very, very specific to entrepreneurship and improving, boosting their business profitability. But then there are those other people that if they manage to get their shit together enough, they'll be able to start that business that they've always wanted to start. And I've got a lot of good stuff for you guys too. So check out those links. Go to threeroadstribe.com. It is now free. There's a bunch of content in there. There's no catch. There's no, it's like the free book, but shipping costs $30 gimmick that these guys run. Literally go there. It is free. You'll have to sign up. I will get your email. But once you sign up, there's literally thousands of dollars worth of content, meaning that's what people have paid for it in the past for free in Classroom. Go check it out. Right now we have Rockstar is in the group. I know Caceres is in the group. Yarn Saxa, good to see you. I don't think Jesse's in the group yet. I don't think Corey's in the group yet. I don't think Jamie's in the group yet. So you guys get your shit straight. All right. All right. Let's get it popping. So as I've been trying to do lately, I've organized this so I could be a little bit direct and succinct in my explanation of what it is that I want to go over. But it's really the topic and the concept of focus and what that means to people. I, on purpose, used the thumbnail for today's talk as I created a hunter looking through the scope of a rifle with focus, in big letters above it, because that's kind of how I want you guys to visualize what focus is supposed to be. Sometimes people think focus just means bringing a certain amount of clarity into their worldview. But if you have too many things, or let me say this properly, if you have a dysfunctional amount of things going on around you and they all become clear, then there is something to be said for the focus of clarity could be overwhelming and it could actually be destructive. So focus is not just clarity without the context to go along with it. And that's really the distinction I wanted to sort of make with today's talk. So these talking points, right? What do I have here in my organized presentation in my never-ending quest to become more professional? We're going to start off with number one. All right. So I got 5 things and then a little bit of a model that I think will be useful too to go over on focus. But let's start with 1. So number 1, clarity of vision. I just talked about the limitations of clarity. Well, in the context of the collection of the things I'm going to go over, clarity is a necessity. It's a non-negotiable. Now, if I am working with somebody in coaching and they tell me, I want to open up a business. What kind of business? What do you want to sell and or do? Who is it that you're going to sell and or do or provide this service for? How are you going to deliver this service, this product or service? How are you going to exchange value? How are you going to bill them? How are you going to market? How are you? There are all these questions that I would begin to ask, and there is a process that I do this with coaching students, and this is sort of like a clarity exercise. It's getting sort of somebody to sort of disconnect from this abstraction, this dream. Oh, I want to get a good job. Well, this term "good," what does that mean? You want to get a good job. Does that mean it's not within the job that you already have? And I can go on, but clarity is the outcome of this process. If you have an individual who does not have this clarity, there is something to be said for the susceptibility to distractions that the individual is. A lot of times people only have a level of clarity that allows them to move on into things that make them feel better, right? So if I say, yeah, I got to get a job, sometimes that's the minimum, viable level of clarity that I need before I could then just not work on getting a job. It's like, yeah, I need to get a job. You're right. I need to get a job. You want to go out, you want to, let's go catch this movie. Or you want to go play some ball. Hey, you want to go to the gym? And that sort of minimal viable level of clarity is dysfunctional. We need a standard that demands of us a level of clarity that sort of makes us immune to the distractions of our environment, right? So if you want to start building focus on any one given task, or just in general, clarity is one of the things that you need to lead with, right? Next thing, state management, right? So state management. When I talk about state management, I'm not talking about the government, right? I'd make a lot more money if I knew how to fucking manage that monstrosity, right? When I talk about state management, I'm talking about the energy and the mood of your physiology, right? I think that's a way that I've explained it before. The mood of your physiology. When we are in a high state, or what we would say a good state, we're light. We're not sort of carrying around a bunch of baggage emotionally or mentally that tends to sort of take over our bandwidth, right? When we're in a good state, there are no stories that we're sort of dragging along through the day, worrying about this, worrying about that. All of the abstractions in the form of stories that sort of bear down on us tend to worsen our state or drop our state. Well, if you want to start managing an effective use of focus in your life, being able to manage your state is an integral part of that process. You need to be able to be on mission and in the moment, at a moment's notice. And a lot of times for people, it's not just a decision that they need to make, because from how they conduct themselves usually to being able to get into a good state on demand is more difficult for them than just making a decision. The idea of it is, if we learn how to manage our state over time, we can reduce that transition to just making a conscious decision, right? And there are things that I would do to get into a certain state. I'll give you an example for these calls or my coaching sessions. I do a lot of work here. I actually shared a picture yesterday on social media of this setup I have here. It is bothering me very much that this light is being picked up on my whiteboard. I cannot tell you guys how much that annoys me right now. But moving on, before I get into one of these coaching sessions or live shows or whatever, I have a mini trampoline. I jump on a mini trampoline, 100 jumps. 100 jumps takes 60 seconds, gets my heart rate up, gets my energy up. I first saw it on an Anthony Robbins documentary. I tried it out. It worked. I continue to use it to this day. Another thing, right now I'm standing, so I have a standing desk. I've been going since 6 something this morning, been going at it, over 6 hours at this point. I wanted to stand up because I wanted to make sure that I was focused and on mission. I never want to be on camera with with sleepy looking eyes, or, just a slow monotone delivery of what I'm talking about. Like, I have to be conscious of those things, and the state is the thing that's anchored to it. So I have these processes to be able to raise my state. And if you're looking to develop a productive relationship with focus, then you too need to learn how to manage your state. Next, effective goal setting. We'll get into exactly, or not exactly, but that model that I'm going to go over at the end, what goal setting should be. But I want you to understand that a goal is a target. It's where you sort of aim your efforts. There is a point where, and if you guys have looked at the bumpy road model in the Mission Mastery program that I've made, which is on the community that I referenced before, in the bumpy road video, I talk about having the ability to pivot with new information, sort of getting yourself out of the box that a lesser version of you put yourself into in the first place. Sometimes we'll have guys that they get what they deem as a good job at 18, 19 years old. And over the next, decade or two, they will turn away opportunity after opportunity because they told themselves when they were 18 that young, wet behind the ears, inexperienced, green 18-year-old mind told them that they were going to do this job. And here they are at 25 or 30, much more capable, much more wise, rejecting, opportunities that put themselves in front of them because of the decision they made way back when. And I'm not an advocate for that. I'm somebody that really believes that if you know who you are and what it is you want to get in the form of an outcome, then you should be able to recognize and seize an opportunity, right? So effective goal setting isn't just, I am going to arbitrarily pick something in the future that I want to accomplish and then put on sort of those horse blinders or this tunnel vision that just refuses to pay attention to any other opportunities that present themselves until I get to that point. It's not something that I support. So effective goal setting is much different than this sort of permanent nearsighted, even though it could be far off in the distance. It's based on who you are right now that you're making that decision. And you could just bind yourself into a box that really puts you in your own way when it comes to growth, right? Number 4, this is a good one. The power of routine. We repeatedly do. Excellence then is not a something, but a habit. Aristotle. I got every word of the quote except one. Whatever it is, it's really a testament to old knowledge, old wisdom, understanding that we need to train ourselves repetitively to transform how we act. If we have a standard, a buddy of mine, earlier I mentioned this during my mastermind call this morning with the guys. There's a buddy of mine who introduced this phrase, work it like a job, right? I had never heard that phrase. And he was describing, when you're in a situation that you don't necessarily have the answer for, you basically equip yourself with the best plan you have available, and then you work it like it's your job. Part of understanding that concept is accepting that there's not going to be this sort of one-for-one quid pro quo. I do this and I get this outcome. I do this and I get this outcome. Sometimes we understand that the things we do in the moment stack themselves together and build things that might be beyond our ability to see them in the moment, right? It's delayed gratification. In my program for productivity, Master the 24-Hour Cycle, link in the description, I talk about, these work sessions, these blocks of work sessions during the day. There's a reason why I call them brick sessions, because if we're building any sort of structure out of brick, we cannot see the structure when we lay the bricks. We might not even understand what the structure is going to look like. If we have a plan that says the next brick goes here and we put the brick down, we don't have to have an understanding of what's going to happen once this whole project is complete. We don't have to be the one to design it, understand where this brick is, how much we have left. No, it's where does the next brick go? And that's the type of approach that sort of leveraging and leaning on a routine gives you. It separates you from the need we have. The real emotional abstract need we have to see the results every single time we do something. It's like the person that wants to lose weight and they follow their diet for 2 days and they're not skinny yet, or the scale hasn't changed yet, or whatever other, just trivial emotional set point they established. If this doesn't happen by this time, this plan doesn't work. And it's based on nothing. It's based on really just a lack of patience, an inability to see something through. Well, what's the best way that we could position ourselves to see these long games that we want to play, to see these long games through? We build habits through daily repetitive rituals every single day. How do I effectively set goals? Master the 24-hour cycle. It allows me to build my rituals. It allows those rituals to become habits. It allows me to pivot when an opportunity presents itself that I hadn't seen prior to that particular moment. We need a plan to allow us to install these rituals, right? If we're going to focus, that is a non-negotiable. Number 5, continuous growth and learning. Continuous growth and learning. I have stressed this so many times, over the years of my content. And even if you look at the 24-hour cycle program that I was referencing before, there's a template that goes on every day, and it's called the TRIM framework. And the I in TRIM stands for improvement, which means every single day I have a brick session that's dedicated to me improving, acquiring, just exposing myself to some sort of skill that over time will allow me to become more capable. If I'm more capable, I become more valuable in more situations. Those of you that, you have this sense of security in your life, maybe in the form of a job or just a living situation beyond just your job, you got to understand that security is very addicting. If you're somebody who lives in a shell his whole life, you will adapt, who you are to the protection, or relying on the protection of that shell, right? And sometimes the security you have in our life does that to us. It doesn't make us more capable. It just protects us for us, therefore reducing the need we have to be able to protect ourselves. We have to be careful about the security in our life and how much we sacrifice of our drive to grow and become more because of that security. Right. So, all right. Johnny Groove, what's going on? Big D, that's my brother there. Damien, what's up, homie? Jesse said, I didn't notice the reflection until you pointed to it. Like, when you've been doing these, these types of videos as long as I have, like every once in a while, this is my sauna right here, right there. And it annoys the shit out of me that the bracket for the door right here, I haven't been able to find the glare. And I have to start like changing the angle of this camera to be able to get the shot I want that now gets rid of these two things, right? So this is a just extra mat that, me and the kids use as a sort of landing pad when we're training. But all these things, when you're doing this long enough, you start to become, you should develop standards, right? And that's, again, just annoying the fuck out of me. Thanks for bringing it up again, Jesse. My man, Big Vincent, what's going on, brother man? Good to see you. Derek, what's up, brother man? Goose, you're still in fucking Iowa? Jesus Christ. I think Goose moved to Iowa and didn't tell anybody. Goose and his pop shot some monster deers out there. So do you pluralize it with the S? Did I just reveal that I'm from the Bronx? You guys killed some impressive deers. All right, let's get back on mission. Stop fucking distracting me. Jesus. All right. So one of the drives for doing this video today was I was reading an article on different athletes' sort of pre-game rituals, like the things that they work on. And in in this article, I think it was an article, it might have been a video. I think it was an article though. There was a clay shooter, right? So clay shooter, skeet shooter, and this guy was talking about this idea of continuously working on his hold point, right? So some of the terminology in this clay shooting is there's the hold point, which is basically where I'm holding the barrel of my rifle. There's the viewpoint where they see the clay target. And then there's the kill point or the killing point, which is where they think they're going to fire so their round can meet the target. So there's the hold point, there's the viewpoint, and then there's the kill point. And I like this idea of this individual in their training. They're constantly working on improving their hold point. I found it somewhat profound when looking at the concept behind it, because it didn't just have to do with, how do I shoot the target when I see it? It's how do I prepare myself so that when I see a target, I'm in the best possible position to shoot it. And I think it was very, there's a huge parallel there to the type of approach to a man's life that I promote, that I advocate for, in having this readiness in who they are and having a collection of habits that constantly improve the capability so that when an opportunity, what I would call a target, presents itself, we know how to execute and meet it. If somebody wanted to, let's say somebody was approaching, looking for a job, his buddy calls him, hey, I need a Spanish translator. They're paying a shit ton of money. They'll pay for you to travel all over the world. All you got to do is translate Spanish. And the guy's like, I don't know how to speak Spanish. It's like, yeah, all right. I thought you did. Sorry. Yeah, job's not for you. In that particular hypothetical, again, just a hypothetical, the fact that the guy had not prepared himself for what the opportunities, capabilities required made him pass the opportunity by, or vice versa, the opportunity passed him by. As we go on in jobs, and this is one of the things that really just fucking aggravates me, when you have a guy that's like, oh, I have a job, 9 to 5, benefits, great pay, this and that. So basically all he does is he goes to work, he does his best, his job. By the way, when you have a secure job like that, your only job is really don't get fired. Your job is not, and this is by the businesses, the jobs, credentials or criteria itself. They just don't want you to get fired. There's a certain point if you do your job so poorly, you'll get fired. So your job is to not get fired, right? So you have to be able to be effective. There's a certain point where an individual takes it upon himself to be even better than that. Now, it might be purely within the confines and the structure of that job, or it might be in addition to. I'm going to, I'm a plumber. I go to every day to this plumbing business and I do my job in this plumbing business, but I'm starting to teach people how to paint on the weekend. And that turns into a whole business where now he can quit this job because he wants to do this for the rest of his life. Whatever it is, there needs to be an approach where we're constantly improving and I'll reference that clay shooter again, the hold point. How are we holding our capabilities at the ready so that when an opportunity presents itself, we're in the best possible position to make good on it, to execute and make good on it. I think when you have the person who is comfortable, the person who, growing up in New York City in the Bronx, I know too many people that had, gotten these great union jobs, 18, 19, 20 years old. They're making great money. And you look at them at 30, 40, 50, and they're still working these same jobs. Who they were at 18 decided who they were going to be at 40. Now, a counter rebuttal a lot of people have had, and this, they're admittedly, what I'm about to get into, there's a lot of preference here. and I'm biased, according to my preference. But one of the pushbacks that I would get when having these types of conversations with these guys is, yeah, but I have a great house. I got this, this retirement, a pension, whatever it is. And I got a bunch of money in the bank. And my whole thing is, yeah, but you had to give them 20 years. It's like, I don't care about the fucking house, the vacation, the car, the boat. Like, you had to give them 20 years. It's like, what makes you think that those 20 years were worth a house, a car, and a vacation? It's like, okay, how much would it cost to buy the house, the car, the boat, and the 2 vacations a year? Let's say it was $1 million. All those things together was $1 million. I don't know. I'm Dungeon Master, right? It's $1 million. What would it cost for 20 years? Like, how do you get 20 years back? You're 60, you want to be 40. You're 40, you want to be 20. You're 50, you want to be 30. How much would it cost to get 20 years? There's no price because it's priceless. Your time is priceless. So I'm very, very careful with how I invest my time. I do my best not to waste it. I'm not fucking perfect. I waste too much time. By my own standards, I waste way too much time. I waste it on doing things that aren't in line with my missions. I waste it on people who wind up being fucking just useless in the end. But I'm constantly looking to improve my systems. But at no point do I sacrifice that growth, and do I sacrifice time just for stability, just for security. And again, the people who are older than me, the older generations, the boomers and whatnot, like, they're all about finding that stable, secure job. The people who are younger than me, they don't even know what the fuck that means, right? Which a lot of times there's some irony in it because they don't know what it means while they're living at their parents' house still, right? So me, what do I advocate for? I advocate for just what I just explained. It's like constantly improving your hold point so that when opportunities show themselves, you could seize them immediately. But at no point do I ever agree to live my life whereby I go to a job every day and my only mission is to make sure I don't get fired. If you don't get paid more for doing more, it has to be an internal drive that makes you go beyond, what the minimum requirement is in a secure job situation. Those are the types of relationships that you build with yourself that have nothing to do with where you work, have nothing to do, I would even say, with what your long-term goals are. I think what it has to do with is a combination of your internal standards and your ability to stay focused on them, right? So I had written these things down. Let me go over it one more time. This is a list of 5 things that I thought about when it came to improving your focus. Number 1, it was clarity of vision. What is it that you want to do? How much specific detail can you put into that picture so you could see it more clearly? Not only so you could understand where to aim the trajectory of your efforts, but also you could sort of understand when you are not going towards that mission and when you are. Second thing, state management. In a lot of my content, I refer to the body as the machine. We have to honor the machine. We have to build the machine. One of those applications is being able to keep us at our most capable emotionally. And that means not allowing the bandwidth of our consciousness to be sort of monopolized by baggage, to be monopolized by stories that have nothing to do with what's in the moment. Right? Being able to manage our state is really is being able to keep that slate clean so that we can be present. Energy's high, and it's being able to be delivered and focused completely in one direction and on one goal. That's what state management is. Next thing is effective goal setting. What is a goal? What is it that you're trying to accomplish? Is it a story that you tell yourself to where it's like, I want to make more money? Hey, you want to go to do something else that's nothing to do with what I just said about making more money? Like, effective goal setting is really looking, go back to that thumbnail image that I have of the rifleman, the hunter, looking through the scope of his rifle. It's like goal setting is the target. It's where are we aiming the target? In that picture, you have the man, you have the target, you have the rifle, you have the scope. You could argue you have the distance between the target and the man. There are all parallels for those values when we're setting goals, when we're establishing goals for ourselves. Who are you? What are you capable of? That means, that's the equivalent is how effectively can you run that rifle? How clear is the vision? That's the scope. It's like how clearly can I see where I'm supposed to be aiming my efforts? What are you trying to accomplish? That's the goal, really. That's the well, where am I aiming this? If it's successful, where am I hitting? The fourth thing, the power of routine. I spoke about it at some length, where I cannot stress to you enough. People like me don't lose. Why don't we lose? Why don't people like me lose? Number one, because I don't quit. If you don't quit, you won't lose. It might take you some time to do some stuff. But if you don't quit, you won't lose. The other reason why people like me don't lose is I am constantly looking to improve what it is that I'm doing to make good on my goals. I want to accomplish the things that I set out to do. I'm always looking to correct. I'm always looking to get the feedback, either internally or externally, in the form of mentorship or feedback from allies, or even modeling winning formulas that I observe in other applications. I'm constantly looking to improve what it is that I do. And how do I improve it? Once I acknowledge that something needs to be improved, I create the ritual and have the discipline to see that ritual through long enough for it to become a habit. As I start stacking these habits and building momentum, that's when I notice I start accomplishing more than not. And the fifth thing, continuous growth and learning. The clay shooting metaphor, that hold point. How ready are you right now for the opportunities that may present themselves to you? And when you're not ready and an opportunity presents itself and you can't take advantage of it, are you then going to go back and say, I can't catch a break, or, there's nothing I could do, or, I don't really have any options, when all the while you're not doing anything to make your hold point any more valuable from one time to the next? So there are opportunities passing you by, but because you're not in a state where you can take advantage of them, you don't even consider them to be opportunities. I gave you the example of a guy needing work and his buddy calls him, hey, they're going to pay top dollar for a Spanish translator. Guy's like, I don't speak Spanish. It's like, yeah, the guy has an argument. Yeah, that wasn't really an opportunity because he doesn't speak Spanish. But meanwhile, from the observer, the third person, it's like, well, it was an opportunity. You just couldn't take advantage of it. However you want to look at it, doesn't matter. The end result of that whole mental exercise is, as a man, we should have a continuous, repetitive approach to our day that accommodates our need to increase our capabilities, right? Which I go into a pretty great deal of detail in the Master the 24-Hour Cycle program. All right, so there's the list. I hope you guys enjoyed it. 5 things that will allow you to become focused, and 5 ways that focus should actually look when somebody is observing your ability to focus. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm here every week. Warrior Stream. Today's 81. Geez, 81 I've done these already. I have a good time. Hope you guys did too. I appreciate you guys spending time with me. I know you guys got shit to do, you got stuff going on, and you spend an hour or some thereabout with me, and I certainly appreciate it. Go check out those links if you have not yet checked out threeroadstribe.com. It is free. There's so much fucking content there. I'm there. Guys that are on this are there, and those of you that are on here that aren't on there, I'm going to start calling you out a little bit more aggressively moving forward. All right. Appreciate you guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it. See you guys next week. And as always, brothers and sisters, pressure to power.